collegiate admissions, where students are judged on their grades, extracurricular activities, test scores, and race. Affirmative action is a primary tool in the collegiate admissions office's arsenal that encourages minority applicants and racial diversity in any given campus.
To me, it means, taking responsibility for your actions and carrying out that action. Being an example for people.
I guess it's a means of creating equality in the workplace or in any sort of hiring or selection process.
I think the simplest definition I can give you is that affirmative action is designed to create equal opportunity. In reality, what affirmative action is designed to do is remove barriers to education, barriers to employment, so that all applicants can be treated on an equal footing, on an equal basis.
Affirmative action was first coined in President John F. Kennedy's Executive Order 10925 of 1961. Later, President Lyndon B. Johnson furthered the cause by making affirmative action mandatory. Since then, affirmative action has been applied to a wide variety of institutions, particularly the education system, where it has remained controversial since its original implementation. A number of Supreme Court cases have made an impact on the federal policies relating to affirmative action.
What the court does in these cases is they look at what does the Constitution and the 14th Amendment require in terms of equal protection. The 14th Amendment defines that there shall be no discrimination against specific categories, and those categories are race, creed, and national origin, and subsequently after the 1970s, gender is considered what is called a, quote, suspect category. So if you're using those categories to make decisions about employment or admission, you could be in violation of the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment.
The most influential case, Regents of the University of California versus Bakke, occurred in 1978 when a white male, Alan Bakke, was rejected from the university's medical school while minority applicants with significantly lower scores were being admitted. Bakke took the case to the court under the stance that judging him on the basis of race was in violation of the 14th Amendment. The Supreme Court ruled that the inflexible quotas, such as those set by the medical school, were illegitimate. However, race is still a legitimate factor in the admissions process.
Now, subsequent to Bakke, there was a great deal of controversy because a lot of people said, well, the Supreme Court really was split, and there wasn't a majority opinion.
A number of other Supreme Court cases have dealt with the controversy of affirmative action. Some, such as Gratz versus Bollinger, have held the precedent set by Bakke that affirmative action is necessary, but others, such as Grutter versus Bollinger, have disagreed with the precedent. 3 states, California, Michigan, and Washington, have passed constitutional amendments banning affirmative action within their states, contrary to the Bakke precedent. Overall, the controversy surrounding the topic of affirmative action continues to be an issue debated in both the Supreme Court and the nation as a whole.
It's always been an issue here of trying to attract more minority applicants and more minority students at Penn State. When I came here in 1984, I think the percentage of African Americans here was maybe 4%.
At Penn State today, roughly 75% of the student body identify themselves as white. Minorities make up 1/4 of the university population as a result of affirmative action initiatives. This number indicates that the percentage of minority students at Penn State has increased drastically in the past 28 years. With continued affirmative action initiatives, this percentage will likely continue to increase.
Yes and no. I feel like the minorities here, a lot of them didn't have affirmative action. they are here based solely on their academic performance.
I guess it creates those minority groups. It helps to create those minority groups by having affirmative action in place.
I imagine it does, though I don't necessarily agree with affirmative action as a policy that should be implemented by a university. I'm sure it is helpful to minorities.
There's two philosophical positions that are held in this issue of affirmative action. One is that the 14th Amendment defines discrete and insular minorities that are to be given privilege over other races. So these minorities, in terms of race, are to be given preferential treatment in order to right the wrongs of past discrimination. The other side says that the 14th Amendment requires racial neutrality.
No, I think it should all be based on academics or athletics, as the case may be. I don't see what race or ethnicity or anything of that nature has to do with anything. You know, if you want to end racism, you should just get rid of it entirely instead of trying to correct for it in some way.
I think for the impression that we've caused over the years, it's good to give back. So I think it's kind of fair.
We don't use quotas. Quotas are illegal. In fact, they're the worst kind of illegal. They're unconstitutional. They can't get any more illegal than that.
So what does Penn State do to achieve minority diversity on campus?
We put extra effort into recruiting a more diverse pool. Notice what I said, and it's the opposite of quotas. Recruiting a diverse pool, because if the pool's not diverse, your chances for adding diversity to your workforce are diminished.
At Penn State University, a number of organizations and offices are active that deal specifically with minority recruitment and affirmative action. For example, the Student Minority Advisement and Recruitment Team, SMART, which was founded in 1988, offers opportunities for minorities to meet recruiters and receive recruitment opportunities by doing so. SMART and the Affirmative Action Office play a large role in increasing the diversity of the student body at Penn State. So, how important are these organizations?
I think as we progress in time, it's becoming less important because I think people are really starting to understand minority differences. I think it would help for those international students who are just getting into experience all these cultures at one time.
Yes, one, because I'm on the Student Minority and Recruitment Team. So I think that it helps. Not only do we try to recruit minorities, but we try to retain them here. So we don't want them to come here and then feel out of place and feel like they don't belong and feel like they can't make it. So we try to keep them here and help them understand that they have a community that they can go to and that they do belong here.
Actually it does, because I've been bombarded with emails to join all these Asian and cultural groups. I mean, some people just randomly walked up to me and asked hey, do you want to join a frat? What's going on? But there's I've noticed there are close-knit groups just of different ethnicities of people who came here from different countries. I think that plays a huge role in how we interact with each other.
There are a number of misconceptions about affirmative action. One common misconception is that universities hold specific numbers of seats open for minorities, a practice known as using quotas. However, this is false. This misconception leads some to believe that affirmative action does the opposite of its intended purpose. Instead of equalizing the playing field, some believe that affirmative action gives minorities an unfair advantage over whites.
There's that possibility by those that don't understand affirmative action or come in with certain racist or sexist attitudes to begin with, may refuse to understand affirmative action and how it really works. And so will choose to think that affirmative action is a quota program or that it injures white males, for example. If it injures white males, it's because we have opened doors for others to compete, let's say, in an applicant pool for a position or for admission at a university or college. If you don't get that slot, and you're a white male, it's because your qualifications didn't measure up to someone else's.
So it's been a huge issue that continues to be debated even today.
At Penn State, minorities play a vital role in campus life. The 14,000 minority students diversify the makeup of the university and bring cultures together from all over the globe into one student body. Affirmative action was implemented to give equal opportunities to these minorities and all students applying to higher education. At Penn State, these initiatives have helped recruit many of the minority students that are part of the university. Despite the controversy surrounding affirmative action, it is a necessary measure because without it, Penn State and other universities across America would not have the level of diversity that they have today.